what would be the impact if more people are stepping up to doing their responsibilities, even when the relationships break down?
Yeah. I think it definitely is causing more. I think the social pressure and the shame of being a deadbeat dad or whatever is causing a lot of people to make sure that they're in their lives. And a lot of men are proudly saying, like, I'm still in my daughter's life, I'm still in my son's life, you know, I'm a very present dad and so on.
Yeah. Do you know when you say, you know when you say that, even when they say I'm still, it's like receiving praise for something that should already be happening anyway.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and see, that's the thing. This is where I think that the axe swings both ways.
Yeah.
The golf club swings both ways. In that.
To my beautiful girls, your smiles warm my heart. You turn bad days into good evenings. I promise to listen, to share, to guide, to provide, to protect, to love. All that is mine is yours. This is Stories by Emeka, the Fatherhood series.
Hola.
Yo,
Welcome.
what's going on, bro?
What's happening?
Man,
What am I saying? Medium, easy, hard?
easy. Come on, man. Yo, we need stress.
I see you've been hitting it though.
Praise God.
I'm gonna go for medium. All right, we're live.
What's going on, bro?
What's going on, my brother? How you doing?
I'm stressed, bro.
I see you're becoming one with the golf.
I'm stressed. No, it's good. It's humbling.
Yeah?
It's humbling.
Trying something new, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I was on stage
Yeah.
last night.
Yeah?
No, Saturday night,
Yeah.
and it was like I hadn't been on stage for a while, and I was saying to myself that like, oh, I'm still gonna go out there and
Yeah.
I'm fairly sure about how it's gonna go.
Yeah.
And even then, sometimes I'll challenge myself, but I haven't really pushed myself
Okay.
on stage for a while.
Yeah.
Because I know stand-up, like I know how to make a room for people
Yeah,
laugh.
yeah.
So if you're really going to challenge yourself, you're going to have to do something really tough, or you're going to have to make it hard for yourself.
Yeah.
And yeah, a good way to really challenge yourself is do something completely new you've never done before. And that's what this feels like, bro.
Yeah.
This is...
So literally, I'm going to show you our leaderboard.
This is what I don't like.
So as you can see, Lee is currently at the top of our leaderboard, 195 yards.
Yeah.
Then Dr. Nick. Then we've got Stefan. We've got Gabriel, Obi, Bola, and then we've got you here with a question mark. Listen, you have to
Out of how many goes?
throughout the whole conversation. So we've got an
Okay.
hour. Yeah.
Bruh, let's talk in. Hey, talk less. Say no more.
But no, welcome
I cannot be at the bottom. That's what I know.
No.
I
From
can't
what
be
I've
at the
seen,
bottom.
I don't think you're going to be there.
Amen.
But welcome to Fatherhood Conversations.
Thank you, bro.
I'm going to start off light.
Whew.
All right. So I'm going to ask you, firstly, in regards to fatherhood, how many children do you have first?
2.
2 children.
Yeah.
Ages?
4 and 1.
4. Whew. Tough ages, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, 3 words that describe you as a father.
Whew.
Yeah? So you can take your shots. Think about it. Let it marinate. You've got 5 shots every time, then it's my goal. All right? But yeah, 3 words that describe you as a father. Ooh.
Yeah, that's gonna be trying my best. Those are my 3 words.
Look, 50 yards, that's a little
That's your go now, yeah?
No, you got 5 in a row.
Okay.
Yeah, a little 5 in a row. But yeah, 3 words.
Trying my best, bro. That's literally it. I would say learning, learning, hopeful, and expectant.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
We're gonna break those down. Let me let you take your shot.
Yeah.
All right. You just need to hit that straight.
Yeah, just that's all. And I just need to hit it further as well. I just need to hit it better,
That
really.
one, it didn't even register that one because you hit it off.
Oh wow,
off
that doesn't
post.
count.
No, I don't.
Nice.
Sorry.
Wow. Wow.
Oh, okay. Okay. Could put the golf club down now.
Yeah? What are we gonna say about that?
Okay. You're already 3rd place.
Praise the Lord. Praise Jehovah.
So now we can do.
No, my children can't be disgraced in this place. It can't happen. All right, so at least right there we could have a conversation now.
Yeah. So you said learning.
Yeah.
Talk to me about learning. Why did you attribute that to fatherhood?
Because I really feel like I am learning on the job.
Okay.
My mum and dad got divorced when I was fairly young, so my biological dad is not really my example to go to. I had a stepdad who had some aspects that I can draw from, but in many ways is also not the example that I'm going for. So in terms of the kind of father I want to be, it's mostly based on learning on the job from theory.
Yeah.
What it looks like in practice is a big part of that learning curve.
Yeah.
It's one thing to say, oh, you need to be patient with your kids.
Yeah.
Another thing to say, you need to have structure with your kids.
Yeah.
So how do you have patience but give them structure?
Yeah.
What does that look like? I don't 100% know. But what I do know is that I am learning how to do it.
Okay. So when you say you're learning, so what does failure look like during that sort of learning process in terms of things that when you reflect, you say to yourself, you know what, I could have handled that better, but now I've learned from that. What was the last thing you've learned from as a father?
Last thing I learned from was just it was just a general point about how much more I need to be praying for my children.
Okay.
And I think it's just a general point about like when you've got a problem with somebody,
Yeah.
whether it's, as a family man, whether it's your wife or your children, you can spend a lot of time trying to tell them that they're wrong, tell them to do better. But I think it's shown time and time again that trying to change somebody doesn't work.
Yeah.
But you can pray for them. And as a man of faith, as a man who believes in God, I know that I've been trying to do too much in my own strength. Okay. So I need to spend more time like praying for my children, even when I'm not physically like telling them what to do or whatnot. So we've been having a couple of situations where my daughter's getting a bit fresh with me, and my instinct is to tell her about herself and tell her that
speak to the 4-year-old.
The 4-year-old, yes, of course.
We're gonna dissect that because
right around that time they start feeling like they know everything, and then it comes again at teenager. And I've heard that, but that 4-year-old, they get a little bit of knowledge, they get a bit clever, they start to learn their vocabulary. Yeah. They feel smart, and you want to tell them. In one sense, you don't want to kill the fact that they are intelligent or precocious, or the fact that they're getting articulate or inquisitive. But at the same time, there's elements that it's like, yo, I'm not your little friend, I'm not one of your little friends.
Listen, I used that line the other day with my daughter. She's about to turn 12.
Wow.
So it feels like I'm dealing with an 18-year-old most of the time. So, but we'll get into all of that,
bro.
because
I'm not ready for that.
With young daughters, oh my God, it's like I've got 3 daughters.
Wow.
So literally outnumbered in my household.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, my next question to you before you take your last shot is in terms of, I think you've touched on it slightly, in terms of framework of fatherhood.
Yeah.
You said that your biological father and even your stepfather were not the entire model that you would want to follow. So, in terms of fictional, I always reference
I have my fictional dad already. Yeah.
John Q. I don't know if you've seen John Q. Denzel.
Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. It was depressing.
And Michael Carl, wife.
That's my fictional dad.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I want to think, what's your reasoning behind having him as your fictional framework of what fatherhood looks like?
He was funny.
Yeah.
His wife was hot, and she seemed like she actually liked him, which is.
She definitely had respect for him, and I think
yeah. I feel like he was still able to lay down the law, but not take himself too seriously. Like he could still have a laugh.
Yeah.
You know, he had those interactions with Jay that I was like, yeah, I think that this represents how I would like to be with my wife in front of my kids.
Yeah.
And how I'd like us to parent together.
Yeah.
You know, they brought different skills. He'd come up, he'd done well for himself.
Yeah.
So he had the resources. They had a really nice house. You know what I'm saying? He had his own business. He had a lot of free time to be getting into all kinds of hijinks and whatnot. But ultimately, the one thing that was clear throughout the whole thing was that he loved his kids and his kids loved him.
Yeah.
And there was that respect there that this is dad. And even though Junior messes up big time and Claire messes up big time and so on, like there's still an element to which he was able to keep structure.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not perfect dad, but I mean, he was like the one I wanted to be.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Nice.
I think it said that you're up though. I think it's
it?
switched to you.
Look at that. I normally hit it from the green, but let me try from the tee.
And you're the one leading with 205. Wow, bro. We're gonna need to see a replay on that one because sounds like you let a Nigerian man stay in charge of these numbers, and all of a sudden his number's the highest.
Listen,
there's
evidence. There's evidence.
Sure. This cameraman's too good of an editor. I need to see the raw footage. Yeah, I'm gonna need to see that raw footage today. I need to see that today. Okay?
You know what? Let me go back to what I know, which is hitting it from the green.
You see when the file extension is .mov or what are the other raw formats that you're shooting in? You shooting in MP4?
That's all.
Wow, bro. From the green. Show me, bro. Yeah. I'm gonna need to see that. No disrespect, because this is my first time as well.
Yeah.
I'm just, these numbers ain't adding up.
Do you know what? We're still warming up.
Amen. Amen.
We're still warming up.
Amen. Your
To be
latter
fair.
days shall be greater than the former.
Yeah. So when we're talking about fatherhood, we're talking about framework. You have a young family. So are you married?
I am, yes.
Okay. So did it happen the traditional route in regards to got married, then you had your children?
Yes.
Was that intentional?
Very.
Okay.
Very,
So
very.
why was that important for you to do things the sort of the traditional way and build your family from that?
Yeah. One reason why is I'm a Christian, like I mentioned before. So there's a prescriptive way to do things from the scripture. Second of all, even though they don't like to draw attention to it, I'm aware that I was conceived out of wedlock.
Okay.
My parents got married a couple of months before I was born. So sometimes I do wonder, would they have got married if my mom wasn't pregnant, right? Now, the fact that they ended up divorcing now then throws it all back into a loop that, okay then, so if they wouldn't have got married because of me, they got married because of me and now they're divorced, well maybe this wasn't the right choice. And maybe you need to make the right choice for marriage first.
Okay.
And a lot of what I learned at church, a lot of what I learned about marriage and so on, because like I said, I was doing everything from theory, from textbooks, from a couple of guys at church as well. There are definitely some good examples at church, but I wasn't observing them closely.
Yeah.
But what they would tell me is, it's very, very important to sort out your marriage first. You raise kids for 18 years and then they go, your marriage is supposed to be for life.
Yeah.
So you're gonna make sure that that's a solid, and one of the best things you can do for your kids is to have a strong marriage. So that's why I was like, okay, cool. I know that for me it's very, very important. And plus I'm a Yoruba man, it's not really something my mom wants to hear that, one girl is pregnant for me, and I'm not married to her, and then another one is. So I just know that there's a cultural aspect to it as well.
Okay.
So
yeah. So doing things that way and sort of being married and sort of being more secure within your relationship and now starting your family, what was that like when you first became a father? That feeling that you got when you first got the news and when your daughter was in your arms.
When I first got the news, I jumped for joy.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly why. It was just like a natural response.
Yeah.
The way my wife did it and the surprise of it all and so on, I just leapt, but with no concept of consequence or what it really meant. It was just excitement. And I think even when my daughter was born, I knew that this was monumental. I knew that it was something heavy, but I didn't know still the full extent of what I was taking on.
Yeah.
And so there was an element to which it was like it hasn't sunk in yet, but I kind of know that this is big.
Yeah.
Like I've become a dad now, and I relished in the sort of, you know, the status that comes with, you know, I'm somebody's dad. Don't talk to me anyhow.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like I was really feeling like that guy for a second, and yeah, I mean, you know, reality set in, I guess, over the next few weeks, months, and years, but. I think at that distinct moment, I didn't know what I was really fully in for.
Yeah. So yeah, you've got a beautiful young family. What are some of the anxieties that you face on a daily basis in terms of now that you're a father, you're literally in the motions, moving forward? Do you have any sort of anxieties around being a father?
I do. And, you know, one of them is just that basically history will repeat itself. My wife and I will get divorced. My kids will grow up, you know, thinking what it could have been if they had one big happy family.
Yeah.
You know, all of my plans and vision for my generations, I won't be able to carry it out.
Yeah. Do you think that's residual from the fact? How old was you when your parents got divorced? And do you think there's an element of?
Yeah, I was about 3 or 4.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, I've seen the outcomes of it.
Yeah.
You know, there's just a lot of things that I feel like I missed out on. Like, I didn't learn to ride a bike until I was 19, and then when people say, "Oh, my dad taught me," I'm like, "Oh, yeah, that must have been nice."
Yeah.
You know, and my dad has now come back into my life later on in life, and there's many a time where, even in an attempt to have a relationship with him, it's like I'm talking to a stranger. And so I wonder, you know, he's genuinely a cool guy. You know, in the sense that he's quite an interesting person. Yeah. And it makes me feel robbed. Like, I wonder what it would have been like to grow up with this guy and to be taught by him and, you know, sort of mentored into manhood by this guy. So yeah, I've seen those outcomes. And then I'm like, you know I want to do better for my children. I know I want to, you know, end that so it doesn't continue down my generations. But that, you know, we would actually, you know, it affects so many things. It affects how you're able to build wealth within your generations, or how, you know, the joy or the excitement or the mental health adjustment, or, you know, the likelihood that boys go into gangs and street crime and so on. Like this inability to get the first relationship right in marriage can really, really have rippling effects. And so when I've seen that, it makes me worry. Like, you know, I might not be able to do it. I don't have the marriage to look at and say that's exactly how you do it. I'm figuring it out, and I'm trusting God and I'm praying. But
did you know why they got divorced?
From what I can piece together, having spoken to them, you know, there were a few different elements. First of all, my father's Muslim and my mum's Christian, so there's a weird sort of, we're okay with it, but we don't believe the same thing. So it means that it's going to be really hard for us to come up to a place of agreement on things, because we fundamentally have different worldviews and beliefs. So that's always there. My mum always says, you know, there was a part played by certain family members on my dad's side, which again just shows me that, like, there's even outside external factors that can affect what's going on in your house, even if you have the best intentions. I think there was just, you know, they probably just both had this is the part they haven't said, but from observing them, they both got issues and stuff that they could have worked on, but just didn't have the tools or the help to do so. They didn't have the support. You know, somebody to sit down with you and say, you know, maybe you've got an issue with abandonment. Maybe you need to work through that so that it doesn't show up in all of your disagreements. Or maybe you've got certain fears that need to be addressed, or maybe you need to learn effective communication, or whatever it is. There's all these kinds of issues that, you know, you're looking at flawed human beings as parents, and you're going, man, like, if you don't get it right, if you don't figure all this stuff out, what starts off as one little cute idiosyncrasy about you can turn into like the reason why the kids are crying, houses are being split up, the visitation is being it's very, very tough.
So, because that makes us think in terms of we're trying to maintain a marriage, at the same time raise these young people from 0 to adulthood, making sure that there's less bumps in the roads as possible.
Yes.
What foundations are you currently putting in place to make sure that your children have that strong foundation? Obviously, you being present is important. And part of my question is, you're physically present, but are you there? Are you emotionally present in regards to the day-to-day emotional needs of your children? Because one of the things that I tend to talk about is that a lot of people are there, but for whatever reason, because of work, entrepreneurship, just trying to get that bag, sometimes at the expense of what's currently happening in the moment. Do those things play through your mind, and at the same time, what foundations are you trying to build?
Yeah, I'd always struggle with that, man. There'd be times I'd be sitting there and I'm doing my 9 to 5, or I'm getting ready to go to a gig. And my daughter's very cute. She will always say to me, Daddy, can we have some family time? That's her go-to question. And that is hard.
Melts the heart, isn't it?
You know what I'm saying? That's like, don't play me like that. Wow, you have to say it like that.
Cancel the show now.
You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you know, I think it's very important. I explain to her what I'm doing. I tell her to come to my office and sit down while I'm working, because I often explain to her that the process of what needs to be done in life is one of learning self-denial. So it's not that I don't want to be with you, but it's the fact that I know I need to do this so we have money. So I sometimes, like, I'll connect what I'm doing with something she wants. So I'm like, you know, that holiday that we want to go on, we need money for that, right? How's Daddy gonna get that money? I need to work. So that's why I'm working very hard right now. And she'll understand, or she'll come and sit on my lap while I'm typing and so on. And I'll still do my work. And then when it's time, I'll tell her to go and sit in the chair, or that, you know, I need some time now, I'm gonna have a meeting. She understands. She grew up in the pandemic where Zoom meetings were happening all the time. She understood that Mummy and Daddy are gonna have these meetings where they need to get their work done. And even though they love you and want to play with you, there's a time for work. So I think there's an element to which that being emotionally available is expressing and communicating with her that, look, I love you. I want to hang out with you. I want to play with you. And yes, most of the time when she says, can we have family time, I'm more than happy to. And I'll come. And the funny thing is, most of the time when she says it, she just wants to know that I'm around. She'll still go off and do her own thing. I'm like, I'm here for family time. And she's like, oh, sorry, Dad, I'm coming. And you should go do something else. I'm like, what do you mean? But what I've realized is, what she wants to know is that I'm available and that she can call on me, right? So, yes, there are times where I have to set a boundary and I have to keep my door closed on my office. And finding that balance is where I say I'm learning. Because there are times where the door's been closed for too long and I've been locked away for too long. And there's times where I'm hanging out with her and I'm sitting there for too long, but I'm not focused and getting what needs to get done. Find that balance. I'm learning it.
And so in terms of the foundations that you're trying to set in place for your children, in terms of education-wise and sort of financially, because, you know, what seems to be the mindset with this generation is trying to build generational wealth. You know, what goes beyond what we are able to spend in our particular lifetime, and what are we setting up for this next generation? And at the same time, because we can potentially provide more for our children than our parents did, who've obviously come from Nigeria, come from wherever they've come from, do you feel like there's a danger that we might be overdoing it in terms of not giving them that strong work ethic that they need to survive, that street smarts, because you are now able to potentially do more than what was done for you?
Well, this is exactly what I'm trying to let you know, in terms of like sitting down and letting her know that daddy has to work for this money. This money doesn't just show up, and then so one of the big things I'm trying to do is actually relocate out of the UK.
Okay.
I want to be able to give my family a good quality of life, but I want to give them exposure to the world. I think what my mum did by leaving Nigeria to come here made sense in that generation. What she's actually given me is not just a chance to be British or to live in the UK, but to have a world perspective. That, your surname is Gbajabiamila. No one can take that away from you. Are a Nigerian, but London could be yours. New York could be yours. Dubai could be yours. And she broke her back to send me to a private school where even more of that mindset was developed, that having the belief, the vision, the work ethic, and a little bit of luck and good placement and connections and so on can really open up the entire world. So the way I'm trying to do that for my children is to take them along that journey and show them that, look, you saw daddy when he was in his office. This is daddy now. And like my wife has brought my daughter when she was really small to come and meet me in Canary Wharf. I just wanted to walk around so she's not scared of these places. Look at Canary Wharf. They're tall buildings, yes. The people wear big suits, yes. But you can be here. And so when I can start to break down those barriers and then open up their minds, see the vision, let them live in another country, get some private schooling, not just because of good education, but because of the mindset that you can be amongst those who have come from money. You can be amongst the smartest, and you can sit there with them and you can be their peers. I think that's very, very powerful. That's something that my mum gave me.
And I think I agree with you, because like I said, my daughter, she just started secondary school, and so it's like I always say I've transitioned into a different mode of parenting. Now she's exposed to a lot more people, a lot more parenting styles through friendship groups and so on and so forth. So it's like when I'm now experiencing sort of those little preteen attitudes, so on and so forth, trying to make sure that we keep our conversations going, because that's one of the things that I try to maintain with my daughter, in terms of like, I want you to be able to, again, that Michael Carl thing, come and speak to me about any other issues that are potentially happening. I don't want you to learn some of the key life lessons in the playground.
Of course, yes.
Do you know what I mean? Come to me and then I can give you a proper perspective where we can have open dialogue around certain situations. And because I'm a teacher, I'm in education.
Oh wow.
Which means like I take a lot of my work home with me, because I can't do everything they expect us to do, at work. So, and that's including a lot of marking. For instance, I'm studying again, and I'm an author.
Wow.
So just writing, but so it's like juggling all of these things, and so pretty much similar to you in terms of every so often my daughter will come and she would want to have family time type of thing, but when you're in the middle of that thing,
of what needs to be done,
that needs to be done. So it's like trying to find that balance to make sure that, again, you're present, you're emotionally present, and you're there for their needs. Because she's 10 years older than the next sibling, and so for a long period of time she was by herself. And one of the things that I was very much concerned about is like, one of the things she's always should say is that everybody has a sibling. Everyone she knows but her and a sibling. And so I'm always a big advocate of, we have a timetable. Now it makes sense when my mum used to say it. Structure. So reading, homework, and then time for fun at the same time. So trying to balance this new generation of smartphones, so if I'm not engaging her, by default, that's what she's going to go and do, type of thing. So I had to now be conscious about, okay, if I'm telling you to not be on the phone, to go and do other things, what have I put in place for you to be doing to consume that time? Do you know what I mean? Because she's more than happy to put the phone down if we were engaged in doing something. If I said, come now, let's go and play cards, or let's do something, she would happily put the phone down. But if I'm now saying that I'm busy, for instance, so then the default is that. So it's like stuck in a catch-22 in terms of I don't want you to overly be on the phone. At the same time, this is the situation that we're in.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, how do you find the idea of parenting in the 21st century as technology continues to evolve to the point where I guess some of the things that we are now having to go through, our parents didn't necessarily have to go through.
So there are new challenges. Yeah, you're right. And I think in some senses I try and embrace it. Yeah. So we try and make sure we've got some learning apps and so on the phone, so that at least if she's going to be on the phone, she does something, or like there's like some Christian apps that she can use. So all in all, it's like, how do we work with the technology?
Yeah.
But then also there's an element to which she has to earn certain things.
Yeah.
So it's not just a case of you can just be on the phone the whole time. You have to go and do so and so before you can go and be on the phone or whatever, or watch what it is you want to watch.
Yeah.
Then there's also the element of, when we're talking, when we're discussing, and between my wife or even with her, we're trying to let her understand that these things do have a downside to them, and sometimes it'll be a jovial way of saying it, like if you watch the phone too long, you're gonna turn into a phone. Like all that kind of stuff is appropriate for a 4-year-old.
Yeah.
But the idea is to let her know that you can't just sit on the phone the whole time. And the thing is, she will get active with other things, like you said, if you engage her. Yeah. And so there is an element to which, as new problems are created, you have to become creative with the solutions as well.
Yeah.
And so it's just about getting creative with some of the ways in which we engage her, some of the ideas and so on. Like the other day, she's smart. I don't know where she gets it all from. Me.
What would your wife have to say about that?
Me. She ain't here, okay? This fatherhood conversations. I'm sure motherhood conversations somewhere else. She said it's all her, so this is my time. But yeah, like, so, okay, my daughter, she's sharp. I'd left £2 coins on the headrest on the bed. And she said, who's this for? I said, that's my money. She said, can I hold it? I said, no, it's fine, put my money down. She said, no, wait. I said, put my money down. She said, no, let me explain. I said, all right, let me hear this girl out. She said, I can put it in my money box. I said, leave my money. No, she said, no, wait. 4-year-old girl. Mm-hmm. She said, I can put it in my money box, and you can take a picture of it in my hand. And when we go to Abu Dhabi, you can show me the picture, and I'll give you the money back.
Oh, she turned into a bank.
I said, you started a bank, baby.
Yeah.
You don't understand what you just did, but she just issued me a promissory note.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, this is an opportunity to engage her. I said, all right, I'm going to leave this £2 with you, and I want to see what happens when I come to collect it. Bro, I can show you the picture. I took a picture on my phone of that £2 in her hands, because I was like, well, I'm going to, whatever gave her that imagination to try and finesse me out of that £2 that she managed to get from me.
Success.
I was like, no, there's something in her. She's thinking about opportunity. This is it. She, this is my daughter holding my £2 deposit. This is my daughter holding my £2 deposit. So when I show her this picture, like on the money, it says, I promise to pay the bearer of this upon demand the sum of £5, right? So if she's given me a promissory note of a picture that says, when I show this to her, I get my £2 back, there's an opportunity for me to engage her and teach her about what she could have done with that money, right? And so then I might teach her about investing at some point when it's more age appropriate, or about how to keep things safely. I think safekeeping is going to be the main lesson in this one. I don't think she's about to flip this £2 into an empire, but I do think I could teach her. And already my wife was like, oh, she left it on the bed, and my 1-year-old was like picking it up and so on. So I'm going to have a lesson with her. I'm going to say, what happened to my money?
Exactly. That's a good sort of segue to having those conversations in regards to that. Yeah. So in terms of sort of finances, moving further down the line, in terms of how how do you plan to secure your family, especially as a father? Do you find that within your marriage and within sort of being a father that the traditional roles still exist? And is that something you subscribe within your family, or are you more sort of more modern in regards to how you're structuring your sort of your finances and taking that less of responsibility off you and sort of combining it between you and your missus sort of in a more 50-50 basis?
I take it as a point of, okay,
I'm
now
back.
you showed up. You
I
showed
told you I'd
up.
show up.
You showed up. Okay. Okay, I see
Look,
how that works.
Respect.
Okay, I see how that works.
See, there's no finesse in here.
Okay, I see how that works.
I earned my.
What happened to my 145? That disappeared.
That was in the previous game. So we're now in a new game, but we've registered it.
because we talked too long.
Yeah, we've registered it. It's here, don't worry. It's going on the board. Don't worry about that.
Bruh. Right. But yeah, the point is that, where were we? I just got distracted.
Finances.
Finances,
And
yes.
traditional roles.
So I take it as a point of responsibility that I need to be able to provide for my family's needs altogether, like by myself. I think it's very, very important for me to have that as a mindset. But my wife does earn and contribute, and I celebrate her when she is able to earn. But I'm able to celebrate her now from a position of I'm still out earning you and I'm still earning enough to provide for the family. So it doesn't diminish what you do, but it means that you can earn relaxed knowing that I'm not resting on my laurels or not underperforming and just kind of going, whatever.
Yeah.
So I take it as a point of responsibility, and I still do encourage that, keeping of the home is my wife's responsibility.
Okay.
But as she can support me with provision of funds, I can support her in the keeping of the home. Okay. But I think the whole point in roles is not specifically for being like that's all you do. I think it's more about that's what you're responsible for.
Okay.
That's the area in which you provide some sense of vision and leadership.
Yeah.
And so it's very important for me
Was this
that
a conversation or does this just transpire naturally?
these are my values.
Okay.
So I'm communicating these values, but then I'm also learning how to do this in practice, because my wife sometimes, what I'm talking is a lot of theory and whatnot, but how my wife views a situation is obviously going to be different based on where she's coming from and what she sees. And so what it is like a constant negotiation between what our expectations are, what the scripture says, how we feel about a situation, and all the other aspects that affect it. I think that's the wider conversation that's being had on a day-to-day. And, it's not as simple as I'm the man, I make the money, because she makes money, but it's more like, it's my responsibility, I make more, fine, but I take on more responsibility so it makes sense.
Yeah.
So
do you like that pressure of being in the position that you're in? The core breadwinner?
in a weird way, yes.
Okay.
I like the responsibility, I like the pressure.
If the roles were reversed and she was earning more, does that take away anything from you as a man?
I think only if in her earning more, I'm not earning enough.
Okay.
So it's fundamentally comes down to how much I'm earning.
Yeah.
If I make 10 mil a year and my wife makes 12, I'm not crying.
Yeah.
We're good.
Okay.
We're good because I'm happy with the fact that I made 10 mil. If I make 20K a year and she makes 30K a year, I will feel like I'm slacking because I'm like, I know I can do better than 20K a year. So it's more a case of, even though my wife can sort of be a benchmark, as it were, because that's just real life. If your wife is earning more than you, there's going to be an element to which she's going to look at you as a drain on her resources rather than as a provider. And this is just real life. It's not how I want it to be, it's not how I like it, it's just how it is.
Yeah.
So I know that in those situations, it's better for me to make sure I am earning more. But if I am earning sufficiently and earning well, then what does it matter?
Fair enough.
You know?
Hello, you're up. Let's see if you can beat your 144.
Okay.
All that talking, boy.
All that talking. Well, to be honest, I've been very clear on the fact that I ain't here to win. I'm just here to not to disgrace myself.
You've already done that.
And I've already done that, so I've already won as far as I'm concerned. Now we're playing for fun.
Yeah.
Overthinking it. Definitely overthinking it now. It's still my go?
Yeah. Okay. Out of bounds? Oh, that's it. Okay. 161 people. All right.
All right. They call it beginner's luck.
161. All right.
Keep veering off to the side.
Yeah. I think your swing is a bit. But it's still. Oh, that's slightly off.
Yeah. Close but no cigar.
No cigar. So in
Is it
terms
still
of
me?
yeah, you got 3 more. In terms of your faith,
Yeah.
how much does that play a part in terms of how you run your house?
Oh, damn. So I'm thinking too much. It's everything. It's everything, bro. And the times where it's not, it shows.
Okay.
And so that's why I'm like, it really needs to be everything.
Yeah.
It really needs to be everything because it's not like a thing I do on the side. It's not a side hustle. It's the basis for everything.
Okay.
So, and it's the empowerment for everything. So, raising my children to understand, prayer, understand the role of what the scripture says and how to live your life and how to behave, how to be respectful and all these other wonderful moral lessons, but also very clearly about the power of God and who he is in our lives and why daddy does have a job that can make money and why daddy does treat mummy a certain way when he's trying to do the right thing and when he's trying to, set a good example.
Okay.
It was straight at least this time.
Yeah.
We didn't count it. Of course it'll crash now. We didn't count it.
Swing and a miss. Strike 1.
After all of that,
So
I lost it, man.
did you grow up in the faith yourself, or was that more of a conscious decision as an adult?
Again, off to the side. What happened?
I just restarted it, Karen. So yeah, did you?
Yes, I grew up in the faith, but I had to make. There was a couple of moments where I had to make a distinct choice for myself as to what I believe in, because I had kind of just inherited a faith, inherited like a way of life that wasn't fully mine, and so I wasn't fully expressing it because I was only expressing it in a way that I'd seen.
Yeah.
I then had to go and decide for myself what kind of man you're gonna be, what kind of husband you're gonna be, what kind of father you're gonna be. And that has pushed me deeper and deeper into my own personal relationship with God, rather than just kind of living out what I was taught as a kid, or what I was kind of just taken along with.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's a big reason why I'm very key on like explaining and so, because it does give you a good foundation in some ways, give you some good fundamentals, but I think every single person has to figure out their own faith, and that's very key. I want my children to have their own as well.
Okay. So how do you, in terms of church and your faith, in terms of making sure that they fully understand that aspect of church and what it means to you and your family? Ooh, okay. Is it the fact that you go to church on a regular basis and then they are, through experience and just through being around the church, that's what's starting to add that value and moral compass for them? Or is it the teachings that you're giving at home?
I don't even keep injure yourself.
Don't enjoy yourself.
Hey, I hit the audience. Golly.
Yeah.
That wasn't smooth. That was not smooth. Yeah, you know what? I think it's more than that. It's engaging them in daily prayer as a family.
Okay.
It's luckily at church there's pretty good Sunday school, and my wife is a Sunday school teacher as well. So she kind of reinforces that at home, like what have you learned and what does that mean? But I think, as it becomes more age appropriate, I will definitely be making sure that we're kind of working out the day-to-day aspects of their faith, aspects of their growth with their faith.
Yeah.
So what does this mean in a time of exams? What does this mean when you start to like members of the opposite sex? What does this mean when you start getting pocket money or making money? So yeah, making it applicable, I think, is going to be a big part of that when it gets there. But I think no matter how much you try to like create a curriculum for your kids, most of it is them watching you and learning how you do things. So it's part of it is being very aware that they're soaking up right now what I'm doing. They might not see it all, but they see enough.
Yeah.
You know? Okay, that's what we...
So earlier you spoke about this, the sassiness that your daughter is starting to display at 4.
Yeah.
In terms of discipline, in terms of those boundaries that you're trying to set in place, what are you seeing from her, and what are you doing at this point to try and to nip that in the bud before it starts to manifest itself in a more negative way? Because right now it's still cute. It's still 4
Yeah,
years
it's
old.
not even cute anymore. It's not even cute anymore. Yo, it's not even cute anymore. Cause, let me tell you.
Okay, you got your mojo back.
It's it's not cute anymore because it's really getting to a point where, I'll check in with her childminder and be like, so what's the progress looking like? What are the issues and so on? And one thing her it's your turn. One thing her childminder said was like, oh, she does need to stop kind of arguing back.
Okay.
And my wife picked her up, put her in the car and said, oh, the childminder said she needs to stop arguing back. And the first thing she said was, I don't argue back. I was like, look at you. You don't even know you're snitching on yourself right now. But that's something that I don't want my child to be known as an argumentative, smart mouth child. Yeah. So that's why I said that my first instinct would be to tell her why everything she did was wrong and so on and so forth. But now I'm learning more about how much I need to be doing sort of that pre-work. Before I even get to her, I need to be praying. And then I also need to, my wife and I both need to, I don't want to put this purely on my wife, I'm saying both of us, but I think we both know who needs this a bit more. But no, both need to learn how to model that behavior of not being argumentative and not kind of having to come back on everything and so on. And I think that a big part of that is just the fact that we're not perfect human beings ourselves.
Yeah. Does that line work in your house? don't let me call your dad.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
So, for instance, like growing up, I would never say anything back to my dad. He could be wrong, but
Yeah.
I'll just be quiet, stay humble, and just take it.
Yeah.
Whereas with my mum, I'm more tempted to now, like, you're wrong here, and I'm going to, like, even in the most polite way, I'm still going to say something back, type of thing. So does that exist in your house in terms of she doesn't really do it with you, or does it still exist with you as well?
She will still come back with me, but it will be less.
Yeah.
I think I definitely. Whoa. Okay. I think it's even over. Okay. Nah. Not over
That's
there.
just wild.
But yeah, with her, it's more a case of there's definitely nonsense she doesn't try with me.
Yeah.
And so there is that element of like, you don't want me to tell your dad that this is what you did. And often my wife will make her come and report herself to me.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I would like to believe I still try and keep an element to which we are friends. And so she does feel like she can have a conversation with me. I don't want to be unquestionable.
Yeah.
I don't want to be to the point where it's like you can't come and say, Because at times she'll say stuff and it really does convict me of something I need to like pay attention to or that I need to learn. You know, there's times where it's like there was one time we were about to go into the city centre, and where we have a place where we usually park where it's free. Mm-hmm. And in that morning, she said she had a dream that there was a yellow sticker on the car.
Oh wow!
I was like, that sounds like a penalty notice. So I went. I just said, oh wow. And then that day, we were driving into the city and went to a park where we always park. Got out of the car and I was like, yo, let me check. In fact, they had one of those signs up that says temporarily cancelled parking. Don't park here between these dates and these dates. And so I don't know if God really sent it to her in a dream to warn me not to get this parking ticket, but listening to her in that moment and kind of trying to work out what she was saying to me actually helped me not get a ticket. So I just think there are times where I need to make sure I'm listening to her as well.
Yeah.
And not just kind of going, hey child, be quiet, I'm talking, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah. In terms of sort of rounding off the conversation, in terms of fatherhood, there's a narrative that for many years that sort of black men haven't been stepping up with their roles, and there's a lot of people who are not in their children's lives. Do you feel like with our generation there's more of a consciousness to now not fall in line with that previous stereotype? And what would be the impact if more people are stepping up to doing their responsibilities, even when the relationships break down?
Yeah, I think it definitely is causing more. I think the social pressure and the shame of being a deadbeat dad or whatever is causing a lot of people to make sure that they're in their lives. And a lot of men are proudly saying, like, I'm still in my daughter's life, I'm still in my son's life, you know, I'm a very present dad and so on.
Yeah. Do you know when you say, you know when you say that, even when they say I'm still, it's like receiving praise for something that should already be happening anyway.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and see, that's the thing. This is where I think that the axe swings both ways. Yeah. The golf club swings both ways in this kind of narrative. It's because on the one hand, the constantly putting the idea out there that black men are not doing enough, black men are not good fathers and so on, incentivizes people doing fatherhood out of fear, and people sort of catering to the lowest common denominator. So it's like sometimes I always made this point about one time I posted a picture of myself holding a nephew, a baby, and somebody commented underneath that you're going to be a good dad one day, and I was like, what? Because I was holding a baby. Like, it's kind of, in one hand, it's a compliment. It's backhanded, because the insinuation is that if you even showed up to hold a baby, like, you've basically reached the heights of your job. Whereas I know that for myself, in terms of my vision, where I want to go with my children, it's much bigger than holding my child. Like, I'm trying to raise a generation that's going to raise a generation. So I think there's an element to which the narrative is harmful, even though the social pressure does get a lot of men to be active. I think it gets them to feel like as long as they're paying their child support, or as long as they do their Saturdays or whatever, that they are good dads. Whereas I think if we raise the bar to, you know, do you have a plan and a vision for your child? Do you have, you know, a sort of, do you have certain things in place for them when they grow up? Have you worked on yourself so that they don't pick up your traits? Have you mitigated for the fact that they haven't grown up in a nuclear family setting, so they may have a, you know, a slight different view on what relationships look like because the parents that they have weren't together? Have you thought about all these things? I think when we start getting to that level, I think that's when we'll really push the fatherhood discussion forward. But I think sometimes that narrative about us is killing us more than the reality.
Yeah. I think it's even similar to what you said in terms of, I remember when my daughter that's 12 years old now, when she was about 2, and I remember my car wasn't working. See if we can get a few more shots within the last 2 minutes.
Okay.
My car wasn't working and I was just pushing the pram.
Yeah.
And then this lady stopped me and she was like, you're a really good dad. I was thinking, you don't even know me.
Exactly.
I'm just pushing the pram as in like. So
and I know that she means well.
Yeah,
you know that she means
it's
well.
Like the bar has been lowered so much.
Yeah.
Then a black man pushing a pram is seen as.
He's really like, he's doing something, man.
He's doing something. So for me, you know, it's like, I don't want praise for things that I should be doing anyway.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And so, and it's dispelling that myth and that mentality. But what you mentioned is social pressures.
Yeah.
But does that mean that there's now a facade in being present, i.e. Father's Day, go and grab the kids, take the picture, post it?
Yeah.
Is that the pressure? Are they easing the pressure by doing that? But in terms of when the cameras are off, are you there?
This is it, and that's attention? Do you know what? Fatherhood is a very thankless job, and if you're still looking for thanks, you're going to miss a lot of the real work that needs to be done. And so I think making it a thanks-based economy and making it like a celebration-based economy is good because it gets some people involved. And I do think fathers should be celebrated, but I think that we need to also move past that and let you know that there's going to come a point where people aren't going to necessarily appreciate what you're doing right now. There's going to be there's a lot of kids who don't appreciate their dads until they lose them. And you still need to do that work. There's going to be a lot of times where the mum's looking at you like you're a vice parent and she's the real parent. And so you're trying to say to do something and she's not going to listen to you until she sees the kids going haywire, and then she's like, well, you know, kids need their dads, you know. They always come in with that consolation prize at the end. But it's like, you have to keep going regardless because it's more important than you. It's more important than how you feel about it right now. It's an issue that's going to affect generations to come. It's very, very important that you understand the gravity of the job that you've taken on when you father a child, you know?
So our official time is finished, so your score is 161, that's what's registered. All you're doing now is just
having fun
to improve your swing, you know?
I still don't have any proper training on how to swing. I've just been trying to watch other people.
That's how we learn. We learn through observation. Like you said earlier, modeling the behavior, you know? Bandura's model. But with this Instagram generation, internet generation, how do we make sure that that more fathers are actually doing what they're supposed to be doing? Is it, so for instance, within your friendship groups, are you more inclined to call out your friends potentially that are not doing what they're supposed to do? Or do you just let everyone crack on with their own personal business?
Well, here's the thing. A big part of the fact that I am the father I am today is because I have friends around me who are very active fathers. So I don't actually have those friends in my circle. Just kind of by natural association, you know, because we're not going to have the same values really if you're not about your family.
Yeah.
So they don't tend to be my friends. But the other thing I know is that you don't get very far with men by shaming them. You get very short-term results. Men respond at most to respect, and I think if you appeal to a man respectfully, and you appeal to the nature in him to seek honor and respect, I think we'll get much better results.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they do to get men to go and die for a country.
It's true.
So if you can do it, if that's what men are willing to do for respect and honor, you need to be smart about how we do this fatherhood thing.
We don't do disrespect very well, do we?
No, there's no, guys. I don't think men even hear you if they feel like they're being disrespected.
Yeah.
So I think we need to start speaking to fathers with respect. I think if we brought back the respect of men and the respect of fathers and the respect of that place in the family, true respect of it, not cosmetic respect of it, not just calling them in for responsibilities like come and provide, but like what's your leadership and your vision, like we want to follow you. I think men would then go, all right, there's a job at hand here, and and every man, there's like a little superhero inside of him that wants to be awakened, and you tell him that there's a mission or that there's like a big giant to go, and then he starts solving problems. And I don't think a lot of men have been really fully activated in that way. I think they've kind of been put into a series of actions like, take your child on Saturday. This is the right food to give her. Don't do this for her. Keep her away from that person. Take, pay for this. And all of these things are not activating the fullness of what's in them.
Yeah. And I think what you said is key, because it's like, you don't want to feel emasculated at any point during this fatherhood journey. You know, it's like, I understand my responsibility, and I'm going to do whatever it takes in order to do it to the best of my ability. And so I don't want to feel like I'm being undermined or that I'm not capable of doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, for sure. It's very, very real, bro. And it's something that we haven't fully even worked out for ourselves yet. But when we start getting to the point where we really are respecting fathers how they should be, I think we'll start to see different results, bro.
Yes. So just to conclude, in regards to, you spoke about the network around you in terms of fathers. How, like you said, we'll go back to bring it full circle, but go back to the first word that you mentioned, which was about learning. How do we learn? How are you learning amongst your friends, all of these strong fathers that are around you? What's your network like? And how has that helped you in your fatherhood journey?
So I think one of the key aspects is that I have a pastor, so I have somebody who I'm accountable to. And I think it's very dangerous, even though I believe that men should be the head of their household. I think that a man who's not under authority is a dangerous thing. You can't just have authority and not understand what it is to be under authority. So somebody needs to be able to check you, is basically what I'm saying. Somebody needs to be able to say to you, you're messing up right now, and you go, all right, fine. Someone needs to be able to instruct you. And so that's the role that my pastor plays in my life. So having that check means that my wife and kids are safe, that I can't just become tyrannical and just start, beating and abusing everybody in the household. They feel like they can't run to anybody, because at least my wife knows if she reports me to my pastor, it's a wrap on me. So that's key, having the right authority structure in place. And then I think also there's an element to which having my faith means that I've always got somewhere to go back and pray to, and somewhere to go and ask for help and guidance and so on. I think all of that's really, really, really important. I just think in general, when you're when you're trying to learn something, you have to do it. Ain't nothing to it but to do it. I could spend all day watching these people learn how to swing, but the best teacher is to get out there, hit the ball, swing and miss, and keep hitting it.
Yeah.
At the end of the day,
that brings me to your final score. Where's the pen? Oh, it's a good thing the machine's off now, isn't it? It's 161 yards. Okay, look at that. You might have broken but the machine's off.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. I put up a good number, 161.
161, so that puts you officially in third place. As
Not
you
counting
can see,
you. Not counting you. You're out the game.
I'm out the game.
All right.
But
third place.
you beat me today on today's merits. You know.
Yeah, I beat you today.
You outshone me.
with today's win conditions. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I say okay. I wanted to go over there all the time. That was all planned. That was all part of my plan. I wanted to always veer to the right because the winds. I was trying to compensate for. You see what I'm saying? Because the wind was blowing. Story.
But Ola, listen, I appreciate
my bro.
Appreciate your love.
Thanks
appreciate your wisdom. Thank you very much for coming.
Appreciate that, man.
Appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Thank you. Yeah.